Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Silverstone for race 2 in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, which is about to get on track, having just seen a phenomenal F1 show with the Ferrari F60 being driven by Marc Genet. There is the Hublot safety car, behind which all the cars will line up for their rolling start in this, the second race of the weekend for the Trofeo Pirelli drivers, where we have a different driver on pole position because just squeezing out Daniel D'Amato, it was Philippe Barron who'll be going from pole. We've been to Valencia, Monza, Budapest, La Castellet. We're here at Silverstone with Imola still to come, and of course the glittering world finales, the Finale Mondiale to come at Mugello right at the end of October. Lots and lots of spectators here to enjoy the race action from the Ferrari Racing Days event as we celebrate 70 years of Ferrari. All the information at Ferrari social media, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, including the website races.ferrari.com. So we're set for a fine race then, and it will be very, very interesting. As I said, Daniel D'Amato from the CDP team, who has been the quickest driver, has been outwitted in qualifying because it's Philippe Barron that goes from pole position. The 5.89 kilometer Silverstone circuit then, which features some 18 turns. 9 of them right-handers, 9 of them are left-handers, and there is Daniel D'Amato then just going through on picture there. This phenomenal wing complex here at Silverstone, which forms the International Paddock Complex. 19 degrees is the air temperature. Track temperature is some 29 degrees. And as I said, lots and lots of fans here to enjoy this Ferrari Racing Days event. So we have a mix of Pro and Am drivers in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli, and 3 of the 458 Evo cars, which were part of, or were, the Ferrari Challenge up until last year. Okay, it's Silverstone. It is the UK. A little postcard of the venue that we're at for this round of Ferrari Challenge. It is Silverstone. And on Saturday night, just last night, it was revealed that the calendar for the Ferrari Challenge 2018 will include Silverstone once again in just actually a few months' time, because we're going to be back here in April. And there is Daniel D'Amato then, 15 wins in 52 races, and it's been a 2-part career really in the Ferrari Challenge for Daniele D'Amato, and in this second part of his Ferrari Challenge career, he has been uber successful. He started at Monza, and out of the races that he has contested, he's only been off the top step of the podium once, and that was to be on the second step of the podium. It's been all P1s and 1 P2. What will it be today, going from P2 on the grid, because Philippe Barron is ahead of him? It's a pole position for Philippe Barron, a multi-champion in the Ferrari Challenge, has taken the championship on a number of occasions, and also the Ferrari World Championship as well. And there he is in the Rosso Corsa car. His lap time of 2:04.609, just edging out Daniel D'Amato, whose best lap was a 2:04.771. So it's mighty close between the two of them, and in the race yesterday it was mighty close between the two of them. It was D'Amato who was on pole position, and Philippe Barron stayed with him for as long as he possibly could, but was certainly never looked like he was in the position to mount an overtake. But look how packed the grid is ahead of the start of race number 2. Bjorn Grossman goes from P4 on the grid. 65 podium finishes for the Octane 126 team. The German driver, another hugely successful driver who's driven in a number of categories, including the GT Masters and various other things. And we've always known that Bjorn Grossman is a very, very talented driver indeed. and that will be a bus that transports the spectators from one part of the circuit to another. It's all part of the experience here at Silverstone. So they're the Hublot safety car, but there, going from P3 on the grid, is the local driver, Sam Smith, who had a component failure yesterday in the race, which meant that he finished P5. Desperately wants to take a win here at Silverstone in front of legions of supporters. Here is the starting grid then. Barron, D'Amato, then it's Smith, Grossman, then we see Chris Froggatt, the best of the AM drivers, another British driver going from P5. Jens Liebhauser goes from P6 on the grid. The next few rows, Alessandro Vezzoni, Tommaso Rocca, then it's Joshua Cartu and Martin Nelson. Christian Overgaard and Ekinci going from P12 on the grid ahead of Nielsen. Holger Harmsen, Quiton Lendudis and Gallup Attar in the 4-5-8. Then it's Pally Kiersgaard and Bonamy Grimes going from P18 on the grid. Bonamy Grimes, of course, who has raced in the GT Cup Championship and also the Brit Car Championship alongside none other than Johnny Molan, another very, very talented racing driver. So, protecting one's complexion from the sunshine in September here at Silverstone. Alongside the Hublot safety car, which in just moments from now will be off on its formation lap, and the cars will all form behind it. Now, with the Ferrari Challenge, it's always a rolling start. As we look at the Jens Liebhauser car now, car number 44, Jens Liebhauser in a very, very good position. He hasn't, in all the races, been off the podium once. Been on the podium in every race. And Christian there, one of his driver coaches, just chatting to Jens Liebhauser there, the German driver, has taken 2 wins, and he races in the AM classification. So we have the Pro classification, the AM classification, and also we have the 4-5-8s out on track as well. Could also see the one of the best of the Copa Shell drivers, Johnny Lawson, who is currently P1 in the Copa Shell Championship, out there on the grid as well. Here is Chris Froggatt then, who's taken 2 wins in 9 races. Now, Chris Froggatt has joined the Ferrari Challenge as something of a wonder star, really, because with the exception of 3 times, he's been on the podium every time as well. He's taken 4 P2s and, of course, 2 race wins in the AM classification. One of those was yesterday here at Silverstone, bringing home some home victory here at Silverstone. So Chris Froggatt then going from P5 on the grid, and he's the best of the AM drivers as his FF Corsa team leave the grid now, and everyone being invited to leave the grid because the sequence for the cars to get underway will be off very, very soon. So on board with Chris Froggatt then, looking at the last of the teams that are making their way off the grid. There in the number 97 car is Tommaso Rocca, the Rosso Corsa driver, who gives us the thumbs up. He had a big off during free practice here at Silverstone, but the car repaired by the Rosso Corsa team, and Tommaso Rocca banking a P6 yesterday. What will he be able to achieve today? And as the graphics indicate, race 2 for Trofeo Pirelli is shortly to get the green light. 30 minutes of race action around this Silverstone circuit then. And from here we head off to Imola in just a couple of weeks' time. A very, very different circuit to Silverstone, that's for sure. Imola, a bit of a roller coaster. Where are we going to be going in 2018? Well, the calendar was launched here at Silverstone just last night. So Monza, Silverstone, Spa-Francorchamps, a night race at Misano, Brno in the Czech Republic. Whoa, what an enticing calendar for 2018. So we're going to be talking to the one of the quickest drivers out there on track now.
Wonderful day today in Silverstone. I made a pole position with an almost perfect lap. Good job of the team. And today in the race we're going to grab for victory.
So I say one of the quickest drivers. It is our pole sitter, Philippe Barron. Some confusion as to who we were going to be speaking to down there, but it is Philippe Barron, who indeed has edged out Daniel D'Amato then for P1 on the grid. And Philippe Barron knows that he's going to have his wits about him and do everything that he possibly can to keep that CDP car of Daniel D'Amato behind him. We've seen some terrific tussles between the two of them, one of which was at the Le Castellet circuit, Paul Ricard in France, earlier on this season. So looking forward very much to that battle as the Hublot safety car goes now. And the rest of the cars are released at the same time. There they can all scream off from the starting grid here at Silverstone for their formation lap for race number 2 in the Trofeo Pirelli class of the Ferrari Challenge. Philippe Barron, Daniel D'Amato. Then it is Sam Smith and Bjorn Grossman. And beyond that, it's Chris Froggatt and Jens Liebhauser, Alessandro Vezzoni, Thomas O'Rourke. And all the social media then to be involved with the Ferrari Challenge at the top of your screen right now. So the Hublot safety car then leading the cars around on this formation lap. It will peel off into the pit lane at the conclusion of the lap. And then it will be down to Philippe Barron and Daniel D'Amato to control the pace of the rolling lap as they head towards the green lights. And 30 minutes of race action will be underway. Who will it be? Barron or D'Amato as they head towards Abbey and Farm Curve and Village and the Loop in lap number 1. So looking forward to those sequence, the first 4 turns after the green lights. So Bjorn Grossman then weaving from side to side. He wears the number 1 because he is the current Ferrari Challenge champion. Bjorn Grossman had a tough time of it this year, it has to be said, he missed the Monza round and was taking a P3 and a win at Valencia in the opening round. He was back in Le Castellet where he took a P3 and a race win and took P3 in the race yesterday. So the car's now being led through the Old Pits complex, the National Pit Straight here at Silverstone on this formation lap, heading towards the start of race number 2 for the Trofeo Pirelli category of the Ferrari Challenge cars. Hopefully when the race gets underway, we'll be joined by team principal from FF Corsa, Anthony Cheshire, who will be joining us after the start of the race. He'll be hot foot from the grid up to join us on air. And of course, he will have 3 drivers out there on track. And it will be very, very interesting to get his thoughts of what's going on out there at the moment. Of course, he's enjoyed success with Chris Froggatt yesterday, and we'll be hoping for Sam Smith to take the win today as well, potentially in the pro category. He's got work to do from P3 on the grid because ahead of him it's 2 very, very quick drivers, Daniel D'Amato and Philippe Barron. And there is Jens Liebhauser, who is Chris Froggatt's arch enemy, as they make their way now out of the Chapel Turn and down the Hangar Straight on this formation lap. And just while the cars are weaving from side to side, he has hot-footed from the grid. Welcome, Anthony Cheshire. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well, Dave.
He is the team principal of FF Corsa, and this must be very anxious moments for you because you've got drivers out there who are ready to go racing.
Oh, absolutely. This is where the heartbeat starts to rise now.
I'm sure.
This is where all the hard work hopefully is going to pay off.
Well, we'll get to talk more to Anthony Cheshire then once we've got the race started, and of course he'll be hoping for good things from Sam Smith and also from Chris Froggatt as well. The team at FF Corsa engineering great cars for those 2 drivers, which is why they're in such a commanding position in the championships. Of course, Sam Smith taken the AM Championship last year to great success and is in the pro category this year. We'll let the music build the anticipation because race 2 is about to get underway. as the lights go green. It looked like it was a bit of a messy start, if I'm honest with you, as they all head towards turn number 1. Philip Barron then with his nose in front. A brilliant start from Sam Smith, who's put himself into P2 ahead of Daniele Diamato. So as the cars make their way through the first turn here at Abbey and head towards Farm Curve, there looks like there's problems for the 82 car of Pali Kiersgaard, which is slowing Sam Smith now under a bit of pressure from Daniele Diamato, then in the number 25 car, but Sam Smith showing him a clean pair of heels for now. Whilst this is all going on, of course, it's playing into the hands of Philip Barron, who's able to escape up the road. We're on board with Chris Froggatt then, the AM driver for the HRO in concern. To the inside now, he's got Bjorn Grossman ahead of him. So Chris Froggatt then running in P5 at the moment. The opening stages of this race, the BRDC clubhouse behind us that we can see. But still Sam Smith is ahead of Daniele Diamato, so Diamato loses a place at the start of the race as they head past the national pit straight now and through Copse and head up towards the sequence, which is Maggots and Beckett's. Alessandro Vezzoni and Martin Nelson having a real battle there, and Barron is escaping up the road, and that is Daniele Diamato then is in P3. The all-yellow car is the FF Corsa engineered car of Sam Smith. Hey, tell you what, Anthony, what a great job he's done at the start of the race.
Oh, what a start. That is just what we needed there. That's fantastic. So I'm really pleased for Sam there.
Right, what he's got to do now, of course, is make the car as wide as possible, because Daniele Diamato does look quick here. He's reeling in Sam Smith. They go side by side. Sam will have the inside line, though, for this turn. Daniele Diamato with incredible... Oh, and there's a little rub between the two of them. And Daniele Diamato does put himself ahead of Sam Smith. Respectful driving between both of them, because that so could have been an accident waiting to happen, but Sam Smith defending for all he was worth. But Daniele Diamato does get ahead of him now, and Sam is going to be under pressure now from Bjorn Grossman. There is Chris Froggatt, who's the best of the AM drivers. But Smith will settle down now, and what you'll want him to do is get into his rhythm, Anthony.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Diamato's got ahead of him. I'm hoping he can sort of settle down and sort of focus on going ahead rather than defending so hard. It looks like he should be able to sort of get stuck in now and start pulling away from the sort of position that he's in. So
now this was a replay then of the overtake manoeuvre. Well, Diamato all the way around the outside. Sam, now he wasn't deliberately running wide there, because your car just pulls you to the outside, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, that's two drivers fully committed there, isn't it? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Really exciting.
But this was the start, and it was a blistering start from Sam, to be fair.
That's probably the best start I've seen him make this year. It was fantastic.
It was really good, wasn't it?
Awesome, amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
that was close.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there between Bjorn Grossman and Daniele Diamato there, but there is Bjorn Grossman. There is our race leader, Philip Barron, who now we're going to keep very, very close eye on the sector times now, because now Daniele Diamato has managed to find his way past Sam Smith. I can imagine that Diamato now will throw absolutely everything at it to try and get on terms with Philip Barron. And I think through Sector 1 he's just done it better than everyone, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's just gone fastest in Sector 1 looking at that. Yes, yeah, very quick indeed.
The incident involving cars number 10 and 241 is under investigation. Well, we didn't see that because we were too busy. Cars number 19 and 241 under investigation. We were too busy focusing on the cars at the front. So there's Philip Barron, who's built up a 2.5 second lead over Daniele Diamato. But with Diamato now in clean air, we're expecting him to really perhaps bring that gap down. We've got a yellow flag at turn number 4, which is the loop. So we don't quite know why. Thinking that's Kriton Lendudis potentially, who has stopped at turn number 4. That's where the yellow flag is. And the one that's showing on our timing screen is not moving is that of Kriton Lendudis, who is driving one of those 458s from last year.
Yeah, it looks like that stopped.
Sure enough, there it is, the 241 car. Kriton Lendudis out then. He has stopped. That's why there is a yellow flag there. Ooh, now this is interesting, Anthony. Car number 25 has got to give the position back to car number 92. So Sam Smith, who's P3, is now going to become P2.
Fantastic from our point of view.
So the race, what will have happened there, the race steward has looked at that and thought, do you know what? It was a bit unfair the way Daniel muscled his way past.
Well, he did actually pass Sam off the track. So
yes.
By the letter of the law, you know, that is he's absolutely right.
Of course, the big loser of that is going to be Bjorn Grossman, isn't it?
Yes,
because
yes.
Bjorn Grossman now is on the back of Sam Smith, but all of a sudden is going to have the Daniel D'Amato car put back into that position ahead of Bjorn Grossman.
Or will D'Amato concede to Grossman as well? Because the gap looks so tight there. How can he fit in? It's going to be interesting.
That is going to be tricky. He could end up losing 2 places, couldn't he?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, now, what is the rule there, Anthony? You're a team principal. You get notified of that on the team radio.
Yep.
Is there for example, with a drive-through penalty, we know that a driver has to take that within 3 laps. Does he have to give the position back within 3 laps?
Yeah, straight away, really. I think
straight away.
Yeah, pretty much on, within the lap.
Barron makes a mistake.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, he's lost a couple of tenths there potentially through making a mistake and running wide there. So this is going to be very interesting as he makes his way now onto the hangar straight. Does Philip Barron. There's Daniel D'Amato. Now, so he will be informed by team radio to give that place back, Anthony.
Yeah, I guess the radio are onto him now. It looks like he's just trying to ease out of it. He's trying not to lose 2 positions by looking at this. So is he going to do it? It's going to be tricky, but he's done it.
He has done it. So now he's got to wind himself up to do the overtake all over again, hasn't he? And Here comes Bjorn Grossman. Bjorn Grossman spots the opportunity here like a viper. He wants to bite, doesn't he? This is tough. And of course, what this does, this plays into the hands of Sam Smith, because the more that D'Amato and Grossman fight, it means Sam can just focus on going forward.
Exactly. I hope he can make a sharp exit here and just get away from them. He's certainly got his head down. He's got his race head on here. You can tell that.
Do your drivers have different heads?
Well, yes, sometimes. But I mean, Sam can be extremely focused when he wants to be. That's for sure. He's an incredible character and a determined young man when he wants to go racing. He's a fantastic guy.
He's a super guy.
Fantastic guy to have in the team.
So then Sam Smith then all over again is having to defend from Daniel D'Amato. Now, of course, being hunted is arguably sometimes more difficult than being the hunter, because you're having to focus on, that D'Amato is all over the back of the number 92 car, but Sam really has got to not look in the rearview mirror and just sort of concentrate on doing everything himself. Here comes Daniel D'Amato now. He's got to do it legally. He's got to do it fairly. Otherwise, he will get penalised, as we have just seen. So up on the inside now, but that becomes the outside. So losers out there. And, of course, the one that's rubbing his hands with invisible soap potentially is Bjorn Grossman, thinking, I could win in all of this.
Yeah, what a scrap developing here between the 3 of them. And Sam's doing a great job here. You're right. This is the hardest job out of the 3 drivers here that Sam's got. He's got to focus on going forward, but at the same time keep one eye on what's going on behind him.
And, of course, the big beneficiary, it should be said, is Philip Barron, who, of course, as these 3 are all scrapping together, he is up the road by 7.2 seconds, Anthony.
Yeah, he's a lucky boy here.
Yeah,
he's a lucky boy.
He's playing into his hands, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The race, he's probably sitting, looking in his rearview mirror, rubbing his hands, looking at these 3 scrapping. Yeah.
Well, both Sam and Daniele are just leaving Bjorn a little bit now, and just coming into the picture there at the back is the best of the AM drivers. We shouldn't lose sight of that either. That's Chris Froggatt, British driver here at Silverstone, already taken 1 win this weekend. If he can make it double bubble, Anthony, he's going to be a very happy chap.
Yes, that's great to see for Chris as well. He did an excellent job in qualifying. For someone so new to this to be able to drive so consistently and so quickly is brilliant, and to now be challenging the pros. Or just behind the pros and leading the AM class is great. What we have to do is actually explain that Chris Froggatt is relatively new to racing all over, isn't he? Yeah. I think it was in the winter of last year, Anthony, that he was doing his first racing. Yes, yeah. I mean, absolutely extraordinary find, really. You don't often see drivers come into this sport and be able to compete at such a high level so early on. And as you say, he hadn't even raced a car before the start of this year. Martin Nelson is being chased by Joshua Kartu at the moment, and that is Martin Nelson, who's currently P9 in the race, and Joshua Kartu, who is P10. Martin Nelson for the Scuderia Autoropa concern then in that lovely livery. Being hounded now by Joshua Kartu, who's had the inside there, but Martin Nelson with more momentum should be able to just escape from that potential overtake from Joshua Kartu. Joshua Kartu now himself becomes vulnerable to Bonamy Grimes. So Bonamy Grimes, then he goes through. Of course, he's been racing both in Brit Car and GT Cup, I think, alongside on occasions Johnny Molam, who's one heck of a coach, Anthony. Yeah, absolutely. Johnny's been his sort of mentor and driver coach for the season, and giving him some really, really useful advice. It's amazing to see Bon up there, actually, because Bon's actually started from the back of the grid here.
Absolutely. He's overtaken a lot of cars already. Whilst we've been focusing on the battle right at the front, Bonamy has gone forward. Is this a one-off campaign, Anthony, or one-off entry, or will we see him?
No. The plan is to see him for the last couple of rounds.
Great.
He's just got his car, so this is his first attempt at challenge, and he only got the car just over a week ago. So wow, again. Starting from the back of the grid in this race,
very
new
good
to the car.
Right, let's go back to this battle for P2 then, which currently is between Sam Smith and Daniele Diamato. Now, Sam, of course, is going to stick his elbows out and make it as difficult as possible for Daniele to come past. And this is what we've said with everyone that's been on air with us across the weekend. It doesn't matter whether they're a current challenge driver or a huge driver like Olivia Beretta. It's all very well being as quick or maybe even quicker. You've got to try and find a way past. And here comes Daniele Diamato now, but he's not close enough. He has to dive in behind Sam Smith as they make their way through the Abbey turn, and now it's Farm Curve before the slower sequence, which is Village and the Loop.
Yeah, he's certainly really close here, isn't he? Yeah, he's really putting pressure on Sam. And it looks difficult for Sam, so he's doing a great job defending there.
Yeah, he's just got to keep his cool, hasn't he? And the frustrated one is always going to be Daniele, isn't he? Because he's trying to overtake. And actually, Silverstone, despite its length, the circuit, it's not an easy place to overtake, Anthony.
No. I mean, it looks extraordinarily wide when you're looking at here on television, but ultimately there's one driving line, one racing line, and Sam's on it. So somehow Diamato's got to try and find a way past him. Off the racing line.
Little tap between the two of them, and that has advantage Daniele Diamato. Now, that does mean that Daniele goes ahead. Let's see. Race control may take a look at that as they make their way down the national pit straight. But sure enough, Daniele Diamato gets his nose in front of Sam Smith now, and I'm not sure. I'd like to see a replay of that. I think there was a little assist there.
Yeah, I'd like to see the replay of that. I'm not sure Sam will be overly happy with that move from Diamato, but he's just got to now keep calm, keep focused, and keep hoping that he can sort of re-challenge for the position, or that the stewards take another look at it.
Well, it's been whatever the outcome. It's been a fantastic race thus far between the two of them. In fact, nearly half the race already done.
Here we go. Let's have a look.
Was there contact?
I think he just squeezes in there. Yeah, he just gives him a little, not just enough to sort of send him a bit wide, and make Sam run out wide and for Diamato to get through.
I would say that's 6 and 1/2 a dozen the other one. It's difficult to call. Clearly, Anthony, you're always going to favour a certain view, aren't you?
Of course. I think Diamato, he's certainly got his shoulders out there and elbows out, and giving Sam a little nudge. But let's see what the stewards say.
Okay, battle for P5 then.
Still on the fence.
Martin Nelson.
But you know what I want to really say.
Yes. Mr. Cheshire will be disappearing from the commentary box and heading to the stewards' room in moments from now, I feel sure. So Martin Nelson then, who is in the number 70 car, is continuing to be hounded by Josh Cartu. Behind Josh Cartu is Tommaso Roca. So this battle that is going on between the three of them is for P10 at the moment, because of course Bonamy Grimes has got past for P9. Just, come on, lift it up a bit more. Tommaso Roca's pit board out there. There you can see the order on the left-hand side of your screen. If it's got a white strip through the middle, that means they're pro drivers. If it's black, it means they're AM drivers. And if it's blue, it means that's the 458 drivers, which Holger Harmsen is currently leading that 458 race. Martin Nelson looks like he's a little bit of a cork in a bottle here at the moment, because both Josh Cartu and Tommaso Roca look a bit quicker. But again, it's that age-old problem that we've talked about. You can be quicker, but if you can't find a way past, then advantage Mr. Nelson, who is currently there ahead of that pack of 3 cars. Best of the AM drivers is Chris Froggatt, as Josh Cartu now goes alongside Martin Nelson. He'll try and get underneath the Martin Nelson car now, but he's not really close enough to be able to do so. That, of course, is where we saw the overtake coming from Daniele Diamato just a few moments ago, and he was close enough, and perhaps even too close, and was able to get through on the inside. But no such luck for Joshua Cartu, who remains behind Martin Nelson, which is the battle for P5 in the AM classification and battle for P10 in the race overall. Here comes Tommaso Roca now on Joshua Cartu, and when you're in this middle position, you know, you're hunting and being hunted as well. It's kind of the worst position to be in, isn't it? Because you've got to try and attack at the front, but you've also got to have a weather eye surely on what's happening behind you, because you could make yourself very vulnerable, couldn't you?
Yes, yeah, you need to sort of keep an eye on both, don't you? So, you know, he'll be looking ahead now, trying to plan an overtake with maybe a quick glance as he's going down the straight, just to see where Rucker is there. But I think he's far enough ahead that he can sort of plan his attack at the moment.
Nelson through the speed trap then at 255 kilometers per hour. Chris Froggatt is the best of the AM drivers, who's got some 3 seconds on Alessandro Vezzoni, who's a pro driver, and is some 7 seconds behind Bjorn Grossman, who's P4 in that pro battle at the moment. So Chris Froggatt once again is mixing it up with the pro drivers, as Sam Smith now comes under more pressure from Bjorn Grossman, the current Ferrari Challenge champion then. Bjorn Grossman, German driver, extremely talented, and it is the battle for the final position on the podium, so a lot at stake here, and I would think that Sam would want to take at least a podium away from this weekend, his home race, of course. And yesterday it was a P5 finish because he spent some time in the pit lane. Anthony, what was wrong with the car? Did something break?
Yeah, we had a bit of a problem with the rear toe link on the car. Well, not a bit of a problem. The rear toe link failed, unfortunately, early on in the race. So we resulted in a pit stop to rectify the problem.
But your team did a good job, because they got him back out again and banked valuable points for P5.
Yeah, that's exactly why we got him out. We knew ultimately that the race was over in terms of challenging for the podium, but we wanted to get him out to see what we could sort of rescue from the situation.
Is it an easier job for you to actually engineer the cars on a, because ordinarily, of course, for a British-based team as you are, in fact, just a few hundred metres from here at Silverstone, of course, you know, your trucks are going all over Europe, aren't they, ordinarily? So is a home gig easier because you can just nip down the road and get the part you need, Anthony, or am I oversimplifying it?
To an extent, because I mean Ferrari provides such a superb parts backup, to be honest with you. So you know, wherever we are in the world, we've got the same sort of support from Ferrari.
Okay.
So that doesn't really come into it, but you know, ultimately it's nice to be here at home race. There's lots of friends here watching us and coming in, so it's great. I get to sleep in my own bed as well.
And that, of course, also applies to your engineers, your team of engineers, who, of course, travel all over the all over the world, as you mentioned. It's nice for them to have kind of a home gig and perhaps be in their home bed.
Yes, yeah. And the crowd's here, incredible, eh?
Fantastic. Let's have a listen to some team radio live now here on the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli.
Okay, keep pushing like this. Just to let you know, Nelson is 5th in your class. Nelson is 5th in your class. Car behind you is 3 seconds far.
So Jens Liebhauser being advised of his position, and of course what's critical for Jens Liebhauser is being told where Martin Nelson is relative to him, because that's the fight for the AM championship going on between Martin Nelson and Jens Liebhauser. A bit of history between those two when they get together. Car number 26. Oh, and Martin Nelson, just as I mentioned, his name is out. So the Autoropa driver for Scuderia Autoropa is out. He's got the car going again, but
he's had a spin somewhere, hasn't he?
He has. I was just trying to picture where that was on the circuit, Anthony, but they're the National Pit Straight now, which is where Sam Smith is and Bjorn Grossman, but Martin Nelson, having gone around,
looks like it's somewhere in Sector 1, so yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Oh, well, let's see.
Oh, here it is, yeah, Turn 1.
And that's he and Josh Cartu getting together then. They'd been fighting, hadn't they, over that place, and
yes,
that's going to be an interesting conversation in the paddock. So Josh Cartu and Martin Nelson coming together. There's Daniel Diamato. Now, for the pace he's had, he has got away from Sam now, and he's opened up a margin of perhaps 4 seconds or so. But Philip Barron is still 10 seconds up the road. So with 11 minutes of the race remaining, I'm tempted to say, and this potentially the commentator's curse, that Philip Barron has probably got a big enough a gap, as Bjorn Grossman now really lights up the wick against Sam Smith, gets underneath him here, heading towards the last 2 turns. I don't think Sam really had any alternative but to run him wide there.
No,
so
Sam's on the limit there, isn't he?
Bjorn Grossman is really trying. He'll be in the tow now. He's flashing his lights, trying to get Sam just to lose his focus a little bit. This is the fight for the final podium place in the Pro Honours in the Ferrari Challenge. And for now, Sam keeps his nose ahead of Bjorn Grossman.
Yeah, I've got my fingers crossed now.
Oh, the
Come
back
on,
end
Sam.
of the car steps out a little bit. Is at this stage of the race where tyre deg is at its greatest, Anthony.
Yes, yeah. You can see the car starting to move around. It looks like it's hard work now. Hang on, Sam. Come on. Good job.
Well, the incident involving Joshua Cartu and Martin Nelson is under investigation. Here comes Sam Smith then, and Bjorn Grossman. Bjorn Grossman again trying wherever he can to get on terms with Sam Smith here. And what he's trying to do is sell some dummies here to Sam, isn't he? To try and get underneath the car ahead. A little bit of a love tap between the two of them.
Yeah, he's certainly working Sam hard now.
Yes.
He's making Sam defend hard, which is going to put even more stress on the tyres and the brakes. So, yeah, Sam's going to have to hold on, dig deep here.
Onto the national pit straight now as they run through the Cops turn now, turn number 9, head up towards Maggots, Beckett's, of course, and then out of Chapel, and they'll be onto the hangar straight. Now, it's here, and the brake discs really light up on these 488 cars. Oh, no! No, the number 82 car is a back-marking car. Both Sam Smith.
They're off. They're both off.
And Bjorn Grossman go around.
Go on, Sam. Get it going.
So Bjorn Grossman and Sam Smith go around. They both recover, but I think Grossman is going to be ahead of Sam Smith. And here comes Chris Froggatt now.
Oh, look.
Has he got damage? The car is skitty at the back end, Anthony.
That doesn't look good, actually.
Oh,
yeah, that looks like we've got a problem.
That is a disaster for Sam Smith then. There's something clearly wrong with the back end of the car. You can see the back end stepping out all the time, and he ain't going to be able to complete the race with that. He's going to have to nurse it back to the pit lane, and that very, very sad to see indeed. And of course, what we will do, out of courtesy to the FF Corsa team and to Sam Smith, is let you get back to the garage, Anthony, because clearly you're going to be needed down there. So sorry, because that was a disaster for Sam Smith. They're the Octane 126 team who have, of course, been involved in that as well with Bjorn Grossman. So the two of them fighting so hard. And there we can see in super slow-mo there. And that is under investigation, as we would expect. An absolute disaster for Sam Smith. Disaster, less of a disaster for Bjorn Grossman, of course, because he was able to recover and keep going, but damage to the Sam Smith car means that there it is in the pit lane with so much work to be done on that car. I have to be honest with you, I don't see that returning in the race. We will see. The team go to work very, very hard, which is why we've released Anthony Cheshire to go down there and motivate his engineers. But Philip Barron is doing a phenomenal job at the front of the race. With 7.5 minutes remaining, he's got a 10.6 second lead over Daniele Diamato. And truthfully, who is that has just gone around? We pick that car up now. Looks like the Per Nielsen car that went around. There in the number 48 car is Volkan Rafa Kinsey. So all action in this Trofeo Pirelli race. There is Bjorn Grossman, who is now P3, but he's being chased down by Chris Froggatt now. Just wonder whether there might be some residual damage to the Bjorn Grossman car, which might slow him now. And Chris Froggatt might get a bit closer. Philip Barron then, P1. What a brilliant job he's doing. He is quicker still than Daniele Diamato, and this, well, the number 48 car of Volkan Rafa Kinsey turning in on the Per Nielsen car, and both of them go spinning out. And this Josh Cartu and Tommaso Roca fighting here between the two of them, and Tommaso Roca going through on the inside of Joshua Cartu. Joshua Cartu runs wide. And there is the leader in the 458 category. It's Holger Harmsen in the Treble 2 car, who is leading that Lueg Sportivo, the 458 car of Holger Harmsen. So Philip Barron, Daniele Diamato, Bjorn Grossman. And at the moment, Bjorn Grossman is still maintaining a reasonable lap time. So I suspect that Grossman didn't pick up any damage in that incident with Sam Smith and the back-marking car. So that means that Grossman looks set then, because he's 4 seconds ahead of Chris Froggatt, some 17 seconds behind Daniel Diamato. And there is Bjorn Grossman then, who seems to have escaped from that incident with no damage at all, and keeps the car going for Octane 126, and it will be a podium place for Bjorn Grossman, potentially, if it stays the way it is currently. In the pro standings then, it's Baron, Diamato, Grossman, Vezzoni, and of course Sam Smith is in the pit lane. The team will do everything they can to get the car back out again, but I think it's going to be difficult to do so. In the AMS, it's Chris Froggatt that's leading that from Jens Liebhauser and Christian Overgaard. And I think I'm right in saying that that will be a very, very good podium place for Christian Overgaard. He's been on the podium once before, and that was in race 1 at Budapest. So leader of the AMS then is Chris Froggatt in the number 93 car, and fair play to the FF Corsa team. I'm sure it's not down to the motivation of us releasing Anthony Cheshire to go down there and chivvy them up. They've got the car going again, and he's going to be out on track is Sam Smith, so he should be able to bank a P5 and therefore bank valuable points. So on board with Chris Froggatt then, who is leading the AM chase. Car number 48 gets a drive-through penalty. That's Volcanic Kinsey then. Kind of not surprised by that. And we've got under 4 minutes of the race remaining here at Silverstone for the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli. Staying on board with Chris Froggatt then. And there is the number 48 car that gets that drive-through penalty. Just behind is the car of Holger Harmsen, the 458 Evo car that Holger Harmsen is leading that class with. And Holger Harmsen then side by side with the number 48 car. Around the outside goes Holger Harmsen, on his way to a class of victory in the 458 class, making his way right now out of Chapel and onto the Hangar Straight. And you can just see Galapata, who will take P2 in the 458 class. So there is Holger Harmsen then. German driver racing that treble 2 car with significant damage to the right-hand side of the car. I've not noticed that. The door is stoved right in. This is our race leader in hyper slow-mo, Philip Barron then. 10.8 seconds to the good, and still 4/10ths quicker in the last lap than Daniele Diamato. Chris Froggatt then is leading the AM classification. So Philip Barron then. So by my reckoning, 2 laps left for Philip Barron. So driver number 92, Sam Smith, report to the session after the race. So Philip Barron then did all the hard work for this, you know, in qualifying. A fantastic qualifying session, and the Rosso Corsa driver doing a fantastic job out there in the race. Look at that. 10.8 seconds. It's perhaps a little bit flattering to Philip, because, of course, the battle that was going on between Daniel Diamato and Sam Smith right at the beginning of the race, which did allow Philip Barron to get up the road. But nonetheless, he's had to pedal the car and pedal the car consistently, lap after lap after lap, and he has done that. So it'll be Philip Barron then heading towards the race win, and it will actually be his, tempted to say, and I'm right in saying it'll be his first win this season. I thought he'd taken one more, but he's had so many wins in his racing career, it's easy to get confused, but it will be his first win this season. Jens Liebhauser for Formula Racing then, who's currently P2 in the AM classification. Behind Chris Froggatt, but he's some way behind Chris Froggatt, nearly 9 seconds it has to be said. So Jens Liebhauser ahead of Christian Overgaard. Then it's Bonamy Grimes, Thomas O'Rourke and Joshua Katu. Of course, Martin Nelson was out, and Martin Nelson has not returned. He's in the pit lane. So too is the Per Nielsen car. So Jens Liebhauser will bank very, very important points for the AM Championship. And after this race weekend, it's off to Imola. And then we're into the final 2 races that will come at the World Final event in Mugello at the back end of October. So clock counting down, as you can see. Philippe Baron is on his last lap. He will have completed some 15 laps of this circuit in this race. There's Alessandro Vezzoni, who's really had a quiet time of it out there on his own in P5, truthfully, untroubled by anyone. And there is Christian Overgaard for Baron service then. So pedaling the car to a P3 place in class for Christian Overgaard. So the Rosso Corsa team are preparing on the pit wall to welcome home their driver, Philippe Baron, who will secure a win here at Silverstone. And as I say, the hard work, in my opinion, was done in qualifying. He set the fastest lap. He's now 11.1 seconds ahead of Daniele Diamato, and he is heading for the checkered flag. Philippe Baron to take his first win of the season here in the Ferrari Challenge. So the metallic green colours of the number 91 car. And there you can see the Rosso Corsa team with eyes focused on the timing screen. They know that Philippe has got a very, very comfortable margin up front, but it's not over until that checkered flag has been waved. We've seen in the past, and in fairness, it was at Le Castellet with Daniele Diamato, where a component broke on the back of his car within, 50% of the lap to the checkered flag. But for Philippe Baron, everything looks to be completely and totally under control. So the turbocharged 488 of Philippe Baron, the number 91 car for Rosso Corsa then, has the final few turns to do before the checkered flag will be unfurled, and Philippe Baron then will take a race 2 win at Silverstone. Baron is the winner. So Baron takes the win. We wait 10 seconds before we will see the car of Daniele Diamato that crosses the timing line now to take P2. For P3, Octane 126, the Zurich-based team of Bjorn Grossman will take P3. And he rounds the final turn now and heads towards a podium finish then for Bjorn Grossman. It's a P3. Winning the AM classification will be driver number 93. Double bubble this weekend as he takes 2 wins out of 2 for Chris Froggatt in the AM category. Then it will be Alessandro Vezzoni who takes P5 in the race overall. Jens Liebhauser, P2 in the AMs, P6 in the race. And it will be Christian Overgaard that will be on the podium for the AMs. Then it's Bonamy Grimes, Thomas O'Rourke, Joshua Cartu, Holger Harmsen, Volkan Akinci. And Sam Smith will be able to cross the line and will bank some points, but it's going to be nothing like the finish that he wanted here at Silverstone in front of his home crowd. So there is Joshua Cartu then. So a number of drivers having to report to race control after the race, including Sam Smith, also Joshua Cartu and Martin Nelson. And there is Daniele Diamato then, who takes P2. Let's take a look at the order in just a moment. Many spectators here, but let's take a look at the challenge show first of all. Philip Barron out of the car then, having taken the win. And he'll be jolly pleased with that, having, as I said, done all the hard work in qualifying. And he put it all to good use in the race, that's for sure. And there we can see in the reflection of the wing complex here, the Daniel Diamato car come in to take P2. Bjorn Grossman, of course, banking P3. P4 in the pros and P5 overall in the race is Alessandro Vezzoni. It's a pair of P4s that he has had. Of course, Sam Smith, unfortunately, banking a pair of P5s this home race weekend for him in Silverstone. Thousands upon thousands of spectators here to enjoy it. Holger Harmsen's pretty happy. Quite what that noise was. And so too is Chris Froggatt. He has done a fantastic job this weekend. I don't know whether we concluded the story with Anthony Cheshire, who was with us for a short while, but Chris Froggatt started racing in the winter in the Middle East just to get his license. Came into the Ferrari Challenge and has taken it by storm. So there is Daniele Diamato. Probably got a sense of frustration. Holger Harmsen then, the man you can see there, is the quickest of the 458 drivers. And here, confirmation of the top threes in each category. Philip Barron, Daniel Diamato and Bjorn Grossman taking the top three in the pros. In the AMs, it's Chris Froggatt, Jens Liebhauser and Christian Overgaard. And in the 458s, it's Holger Harmsen, Galip Attar and Kriton Lendudis. And there is Jens Liebhauser.
Yes.
He is one of the drivers then that will be appearing up there on the podium with Chris Froggatt and Christian Overgaard in the AMs. So what a great sight that is as the cars all parked up. And there, Johnny Lawson having a conversation there. Johnny Lawson is the top driver in Copa-Shell, leading that championship at the moment, having a conversation there with Jens Liebhauser. Just an hour or so away from Johnny Lawson now on track in his 488 in the Copa-Shell class of the Ferrari Challenge. And there is the Bjorn Grossman car and the Christian Overgaard car as well. And the wing complex of Silverstone here as a backdrop.
And in a few minutes we have the podium, the prize giving ceremony. And we are ready. Third on the podium, Bjorn Grossman. And second, Daniele Diamato.
See, so here comes the podium then. Bjorn Grossman, Daniel Diamato and Philip Barron to the top step of the podium. Rosso Corsa. Holger Harmsen takes the win in the 458. National anthem time. National anthem plays out.
Presented by Olivier Beretta, Ferrari Competition GT official driver.
Olivier Beretta then, who of course was alongside us just yesterday here in Comms. Today he takes on trophy presentation duties.
Daniele Diamato, winner of race 1 and second in race 2. And Olivier Beretta presents a trophy for the winner from Austria, Philippe Baron.
So Philippe Baron receives his race-winning trophy.
And for Rosso Corsa team manager Andrea Zadra, for you guys, for your work.
For you, for your work.
And Trofeo Pirelli, Mr. Theo Meyer.
Theo Meyer then for Pirelli. Trophy presentation to Philippe Baron. And Theo Meyer will also make a trophy presentation to Bjorn Grossman.
Theo Meyer and Olivier Beretta for the winner of Firefight 8 trophy, Mr. Holger Hamsen. And the Pirelli trophy for Holger Hamsen for Pirelli trophy 458.
You look tad out of breath, Holger, if I may be so bold.
The chief of Pirelli Competizioni for Ferrari Challenge.
So then all the drivers will get together with their trophies.
Together in the first step of the podium, rise your trophy, please, guys, and we are ready for the photo picture. Second race.
We'll have to have a word with Michele. It's lift your trophy, not rise your trophy. He's a great guy and a fabulous Italian commentator and presenter. Diamato is just... Where did Philippe Baron go? He was out of the picture for a moment. Super slow-mo's the top three then. Bjorn Grossman, P3. Daniele Diamato then. It would only be P2 today. And the race winner for the Rosso Corsa team, it's Philippe Baron. So the man with the mop will appear on the podium now to clear it up ahead of the AM podium, where we will be seeing Chris Frogger, Jens Liebhauser, and Christian Overgaard. In the meantime, that is Philippe Baron celebrating his race win. Holger Hamsen, of course, was the best of the 458s. We've seen him up on the podium. And a great shot of Philippe Baron then. Oof. It was a good save from Philippe there, holding on to it. Right, in the Drivers' Championship then, Daniele Diamato still with the commanding lead on 169 points. Philippe Baron on 126, Sam Smith on 105, the top three on the points. David Gostner, Andrea Gagliardini and Fabio Lima sadly not racing this weekend. So AM podium now.
Third on the podium, Christian Overgaard.
Here comes Christian Overgaard.
Second driver on the podium, Jens Liebhauser.
Here comes Jens Liebhauser for P2.
And the winner is Chris Frogger.
2 out of 2 for the British driver Chris Frogger then on the top step of the podium.
Owen on the podium, on the right of the podium. And we are ready for the national anthem.
Well done, Chris Froggatt. On the top step of the podium, 2 out of 2 this weekend.
We are presented by Mr. Francesco Balli, Regional Manager, Ferrari North Europe, for the third on the podium.
Here comes the trophy presentation then. Francesco Balli then, Regional Manager, Ferrari North Europe, makes the trophy presentation. First of all to Christian Overgaard.
The trophy for the second driver, yes, Jens Liebhauser.
Jens Liebhauser takes his trophy then. And then on the top step of the podium,
the honor trophy for the winner, Chris Froggatt.
a fantastic drive from Chris Froggatt. 2 out of 2, and incidentally, that very man will be in the studio next to me
Trophy
for
team
the Copa Shell race in about an hour's time.
Fantastic victory of the
I hope. Anyway, he promised.
second race of Pirelli Trophy
Yes, he
in
might.
Silverstone. Our dear
Might take
friend,
on a little bit
Mr.
too much
Theo
of
Maria
the
for the Pirelli Trophy for the winner.
champagne,
Chris
but
and Theo.
Theo Mayer makes the Pirelli trophy presentation.
And we are ready for the pictures. Together now on the arrival
Rise.
of the first step of the podium.
Rise
Thank
your
you, guys.
trophies.
All together in the first step of the podium. Together, rise your trophies.
Brilliant.
Okay, photos and
Great photograph.
Veuve Clicquot are waiting you.
Veuve Clicquot are awaiting you.
Veuve Clicquot!
Oh dear. Oh dear. Unsuspecting trophy recipient wears significant amounts of champagne. P3 then for Christian Overgaard. P2 for this car, Jens Liebhauser for Formula Racing. But P1 then, double bubble, making it 2 out of 2 here at Silverstone. It's Chris Froggatt. A brilliant drive from Chris Froggatt in the number 93 car.
After this podium, second podium Pirelli Trophy, I claim my dear friend Alan and Dave. Alan and Dave. Hi, Alan.
Chris Froggatt, he meant that, didn't he? He knew where he was going. The next race, Copa Shell Race 2 at 1500 GMT. Make sure you join us for that. But if it's anything like as entertaining as the Trofeo Pirelli race, we're in for a good one with the Copa Shell, that is for sure. So, backdrop of the wing complex here to Silverstone in the Drivers' Championship AMS now. We've seen the pros. Jens Liebhauser now on 156 points, but within 16 points of him is Chris Froggatt. Martin Nelson's dropped back to P3. It's going to make it very interesting going to Imola. Just 16 points in that battle at the moment, so very, very interesting to see. So Liebhauser right at the top on 156 points, Chris Froggatt 140, Martin Nelson on 120. Let's take a look at the highlights of that Trofeo Pirelli race. Or not. Take two then, and here they come. So from the start of the race, Philip Barron and Daniele Diamato absolutely side by side, but it was a good start from Sam Smith that put him ahead of Daniele Diamato at the start of the race. Diamato then clunking into the side of Bjorn Grossman to trying to make sure that he banks P3. There was going to be a real fight between Sam Smith and Daniele Diamato. He managed to get through the first time, but did so by going outside the track limits and therefore would be penalised and would have to give that position back, which he did. So he'd got to do it all over again. And whilst there was a bit of panel rubbing between the two of them, he did get ahead of Sam Smith, and Sam would then come under some pressure from the Bjorn Grossman car. Meantime, Josh Cartu and Martin Nelson were having a real fight in the AMS, and that fight there would come to a pirouette moment for Martin Nelson. The back-marking car of Palle Kjærsgaard, unfortunately, meant that both Sam Smith and Bjorn Grossman were turned around. They both got going again, but Smith had significant damage to the car, whereas Bjorn Grossman did not. Chris Froggatt was doing a great job, but Philip Barron did the great job in the pros. Chris Froggatt doing the great job in the AMS. Both of them race winners. And Holger Hansen took the win in the 458. So there we have it then. Race 2 done and dusted for Trofeo Pirelli. Their next race comes at Imola in a couple of weeks' time. Bye-bye for now.